Hello and welcome to Queendom TV. First of all, I'd like to say thank you so much for all the support for those of you who are joining. I am loving this. It's been so much fun talking to all of you. Please like the video if you're liking it and subscribe and comment your thoughts because I want to know. Today we're talking hashtag Free Britney, Samuel Ingham, you are exposed. Welcome and let's get into it. So, wow, look at everything that's happening with Free Britney movement now. And the thing that really stuck out to me about all of this was look how things shifted as soon as Britney had her new lawyer, whose name I always forget, it's so annoying, from when she had her older lawyer, Samuel Ingham. And it just goes to show, to me, I feel like it just highlights the fact that he was definitely a part of the problem and probably being controlled by her dad like we thought that he was. And the reason why I want to talk about this and the reason why it's important to just mention is A, look how different it was when Britney now has somebody on her side and how much the tables have turned. But B, look how much the justice system has failed her in the sense that she initially... having your own lawyer, the whole purpose of having a lawyer in any legal sense is your lawyer is your person that you get to be honest with and that defends you. That's why, you know, you have the attorney-client privilege that you hear people talking about, where if you're paying somebody to be your lawyer to represent you, you get to tell them things that technically, if they weren't your lawyer, they should tell the police. And if for not telling the police would normally potentially be considered... they could be considered as aiding in your crimes, if that makes sense. So for those of you who live in like the UK, a perfect way we can think about this is like, if you think of an EastEnders, you've got Phil Mitchell's, what's her name? Phil Mitchell's lawyer. I can't remember her name, which is so annoying. But you can see in the show how that plays out a lot, how because he has her, she knows exactly what dodgy business he gets up to, but she's covered by attorney-client privilege, which is why she's able to make a lot of money off of his finances, although a lot of them are not legal. But then she is still protected and she still can't like get in trouble for being a part of it, right? So that's the kind of relationship that, and the whole purpose of that is that you need to have somebody that can fight your corner without being concerned about them going to prison themselves. And that was supposed to be a thing that makes things just, you know, and that's how it's supposed to be. So that's why you have a lawyer. It's not really so people can cut corners, although people cut corners, but people cut corners on both sides, which is exactly what this video is about. But it's so that you can know for yourself, I have a person that can represent me, that's fully on my team kind of thing, you know. And I feel like this is kind of how it works, you know, with God and Jesus and the devil in heaven. Like in Jesus, in heaven, you have the devil who's coming up and he's making, you know, claims against you, saying that your people did this person you love did that. And the purpose of Jesus is that Jesus stands in the same court and goes, yeah, well, Jesus, I died for their sins, so you can't do anything for them. And yeah, Jesus, they might have failed in this way, but look what they did in this way. They're trying to do better, so you should give them your blessings and you should, you know, so on and so forth. Because obviously God is good and he has to be, and he is just and he has to be fair. So that's how that works. And that's how it works in the spiritual world. And that's how they claim it works in the natural world, like in the world that we live in. But the difference is that we can clearly see here is because the defense, who was supposed to be the defense for the person who in question, so in this case it would be Britney Spears, who they're saying needs to be in the conservatorship, what you actually see happening instead is you see a completely different dynamic where he is now also under the same, so it's like both sides, it's like James Spears is basically playing both sides. So where you're supposed to have the one who's genuinely on Team Britney, genuinely outside from the family, cut off, so that she has the just right, because that is what she deserves. She deserves to have somebody to look at her and be there for her and represent her. That's how the justice system was built, to be fair. You see that that's not the case, and he's controlling both sides, which is very easy. And I think that's one of the reasons why, looking back at it, maybe the lawyer thing was such a big deal for people to keep Samuel Ingham in there and make him seem like he was on Britney's side. And I actually think that's why they tried to allow for Samuel Ingham to do some of the things that maybe Britney didn't, that didn't help the people who are Team Con, but did help make everybody else, or those of us watching, think that maybe Samuel Ingham's on Britney's side. Because I think that was a question. I remember that for those of us before the testimony came out, where we all heard from Britney, a lot of us were considering like, maybe this is a real thing. Like maybe Samuel Ingham's okay, we're not really sure. And I think that's what's scary about this whole situation, and that's what is exposing Samuel Ingham without even him necessarily being exposed for doing something specific, because you can see just how different the shift of things has been and how quickly things have shifted now that Britney has a new lawyer. And so the way I'm looking at it is, I'm looking at it like, so behind the scenes, what we're not seeing is James was puppeteering both sides of the spectrum, which is not how it's supposed to be. That's why even in the kingdom of heaven, that even in the courts of heaven, if you want to think of it like that, that's also why it doesn't work like that there, because the way that God showed that he loved us and is fair to us is he gives us somebody that is on our team, who's on our side, who defends us, even though it's very clear that there are forces in the world that are working against us, right? And so that's where we get justice from God, and I know people don't always see it that way, but that's how it works. And so here what James is doing, and again, I did a video talking about how James, Jamie Lynn and Lou M. Taylor don't know God, which I'm going to do a part 2 to that, so please check that out. That's my most popular video, so please go and see it. People seem to have really loved it, and I really broke down, all of this. But you can see that James is really trying to play God in this situation, and in the sense of controlling everything from both sides. So even those court cases that they've been doing, basically, I feel like at this point, all of these court cases we've been seeing, the court meetings we've been seeing, and proceedings is the word I was looking for. All these court proceedings we've been seeing has basically just been, up until this point, them, and this, like I said, this is how I'm seeing it. You got James on top, he's controlling both sides. But what he's doing is he's letting it play out in front of people, so it looks like they're trying to do justice, even though they basically on both sides already know that there's already like a script involved. I feel like there's almost already a script involved where the judge, Brenda Penny, knew that this is her role to play, was to do this. Samuel Ingham know his role is to do this, and then James's lawyers do this. And I think that's how it was working. And you can kind of see an inkling of that, because you see where again, when we heard Britney's testimony, which again I listened to it, you can hear that after they took a break, after Britney said everything she had to say, and you could tell that was an outpouring from her. It felt like, oh my gosh, she's getting everything off her chest that she needed to say. As soon as she had done that, and then they went on a break. When they came back, Britney no longer spoke again, and Samuel Ingham was claiming that Britney says she's now happy to keep everything in the court private, which again to me suggests that, and confirms to me that the whole purposes of even letting Britney talk, again, they were hoping that they could keep her in this bubble, let her talk, and then pick it apart at it, as people do, because this is what these kind of narcissistic people do. And I did a video about how her family are narcissists. So what they can do is then pick apart at her testimony that she made and prove and disprove things, or just shut people up, or just stop justice from being able to happen by playing both sides, and still looking like they're letting her speak, and so therefore making us think that justice is happening. But I think it's backfiring, and I think it's backfiring because God had a plan to give Britney a new lawyer. And I don't think it's a surprise that this lawyer, now that she's got this new lawyer, all these tables are turning, and people are now starting to expose themselves and their involvement, because now they want to cover themselves. And this is the thing about this justice system, why this justice system in this world is not a justice one. And this is why I don't believe in it, and this is why I believe in God's justice system, because this is what you always see. You always see that when you have somebody, you have one person, when you have a bunch of people working together, colluding, working with the law to be unjust towards somebody, what then happens is if one person flips the coin, if one person changes the whole game of what's going on, then everybody who's involved, who was willfully involved in it, has to start speaking up and explaining what they did. Because why? Because now they want to protect themselves. Because before, they were convinced that they were protected by the other person. Before, other people were convinced they were protected by James. But now you're seeing even the likes of Lou M. Taylor. You're seeing Jamie Lynn. The reason why people are speaking out now is because they're seeing that, oh, wait a minute, it's all going to get exposed what was going on now. And so the best thing I can do is, I know what I've done, rather than even pretend like I wasn't a part of it. Like, for example, you have the guy who was talking, who's part of head of security, who's shown now that Britney was actually being watched unlawfully. And and recorded everything that she was doing, rather than pretend that he wasn't involved in it. He'd rather say that's what he was a part of, because then there's a chance that he doesn't have to go down in the same way that James does. And I think this is why I said there's going to be like a domino effect. And I feel like this domino effect is going to hit all the dominoes of all these people who've been against Britney. And this is God's level of justice, I personally believe. And I also believe once this case is solved, once this case is closed and everything comes out, I believe it's going to open the floodgates for all the people in Hollywood who are going through these kinds of conservatorships. I'm hoping for Amanda Bynes that maybe she can benefit off of this, because we know she's been a massive victim of all of this. So again, it's just absolutely crazy. And I think this is how, again, we can really think about what Samuel Ingham's role was supposed to be in this. And the fact that it didn't work out that way says a lot about who he is and what he was doing and what his part really was to play in this whole conservatorship. So yeah, thank you so much for watching my video. Please like the video if you like it. Please subscribe if you're enjoying my content. I have a whole playlist called #FreeBritney where I'm putting all my Free Britney videos in there. I also have so many other videos talking about lots of other things, a lot of stuff just to do with Hollywood and justice and things in the world and lying and people taking advantage of talented and good people and misusing the Bible and stuff like that. So please check out my content. Please write a comment below. Let me know what you guys think. You guys have been so helpful, like telling me all different things, telling me people that I need to look into, things I haven't considered. And even just us standing together, I think is awesome. And I really feel like us using our voices together for the truth to support people who deserve it is really making an impact. And it's so lovely to get to speak with you guys and kind of stand in solidarity together. So thank you so much for watching my video. And I will see you next time. God bless you all. Goodbye.